Welcome to the first Nashville Tableau user group meeting of 2021. We're glad you're here. We've got a big meeting today, two very special guests, Heidi Kalbe from Germany and Jim Sun from Tableau in Seattle. And we're going to cover some big topics as well. Data+Women from Heidi and Tableau's product roadmap, emphasis on map. Jim is the product manager at Tableau over the mapping functions. And Heidi is the founder and co-leader of Data+Women in Germany. Before we get right into it, I want to do a few announcements and I'll hand it over to Jim Daner and share my presentation or his presentation. There we go.
There we go.
Take it away, Jim.
Okay, very good. Can everybody see both of these slides, or?
Am I sharing presentation mode or the speaker mode?
Yeah. I'll just load it here.
I'll get it.
Okay.
Apologies. That's embarrassing. I should remember.
We'll get this technology worked out just about the time the quarantine will end. Hey, a couple things we're going to try to do this year at our TUG meetings. We want to start the meeting with what we're going to call a community moment. It's a time when we can talk about Nashville as a community and the broader community, and that's part of why Heidi's here to talk to us as part of the broader community. We've got some people on a regular basis going to share with us some of the things that are happening in the community. But what we'd like to do, particularly here in Nashville, is if you've got something, or if you've got an award or something that you want to share with everybody, the community time is the time to do that. And if you let me know, or Eric, or Nick know about it, just shoot us an email, and we'll schedule it and get you time during the community time to talk about it. It's also a time where you can talk about job openings, or if you've got a job or you know that a job is open, particularly locally, this is the time to bring it up where you can let other people know that you've got a job that is open. There's a couple things I do want to make an announcement about today. First of all, many of you know that I'm one of the Tableau ambassadors. I see a lot of questions on the forum, and we're seeing a lot of questions, particularly this time of year, where people are looking for training. They don't know about training. I'm going to put a link in the chat for the Tableau training site. Tableau offers a lot of free training. They offer some online free training, and then they've got the whole e-learning series, and the e-learning series has just been revised. It's an excellent way to learn Tableau. If you're not familiar with Tableau or Tableau functions, the e-learning training is a great way to go. There are two sets of free webinar trainings that are coming up also. The 2021, they call it Tableau Tuesday webinar series. And if you go out, and I'll put this link in the chat also, there's going to be a variety of topics. I think it's about, I don't think it's every week. I think it's about once a month or once every other week. But they're going to have a webinar, and it's going to be free training. And then finally, I know there's some people out there who are in the financial community. There's a financial analytics webinar. It's a free course. It's going to be on the 18th of February and the 25th of February. It's a two-part course. So it's not just one or the other. It's actually both of those. So if you're in the finance business, take advantage of it. You can get free training on how to use Tableau and how Tableau works in that environment. And then, of course, today, Heidi's our guest speaker. Nick, do you want to go to the next slide? We'll take care of that right now. Okay, just a preview for next month. You'll want to put this one on your calendar because we've got a couple of, actually 3 great speakers. Eric's going to speak on next month also. February 24th, it's going to be about the same time. During the community moment, Adam Miko is going to speak. Adam is going to speak about mentoring meetups. And if you want to be a mentor, or if you're looking for a mentor, or you want to know more about the program, you want to be at this meeting next month on the 24th. Eric is going to speak on row-level security, and that's always been a big topic. And I see questions come up about it all the time. So that's going to be a big topic. And then Brian Moore. And Brian's from he's a Tableau ambassador also, but he's from the Boston Tug Group. He's going to speak on building better business dashboards during their activity. I've seen the presentation. I think Eric has seen the presentation. It's fabulous. So you will want to see that one also. Nick, back to you, bud.
Great. Thanks, Jim. We'll stop the presentation there. And our first speaker, as previously mentioned, is Heidi Kalbe, the founder and co-leader of Data+Women in Germany, and that is her topic today. Heidi, are you prepared?
Absolutely.
All right, take it away.
Perfect. Thank you, Nick. There we go. You should now be able to see that screen, right? All right, nobody complaining, so that's perfect. Yes, hi everyone. My name is Heidi Kalbe. I live here in Germany. I work as an analytics evangelist and BI consultant with the Information Lab in Germany. You may have heard of the Information Lab if you've ever Googled anything about Tableau. And yes, we do have a German constituency as well. I am also a Tableau 2020 social media ambassador. And as Nick already said, I co-founded and now lead Data+Women in Germany. So I'm going to talk a bit about Data+Women today. And I'll just dive right in and add things as I go. So first off, what is Data+Women? So we are an initiative that is aimed at offering women a community around their work in data. We want to offer them a platform to share their knowledge, share their experiences, and also to celebrate their successes. So last year, for example, we had somebody go away from one of our meetings and said, hey, I'm now motivated to actually get certified. And then she did the certification, and that was something she shared with us, and we celebrated that virtually. The initiative Data+Women is originally from the Tableau community, but we are open to people from all backgrounds. So, for example, for Data+Women Germany, we started our chapter in October 2019, and I just listed all the topics we had last year and back in November. So we started really small with a TC live stream back in November 19, and then had a couple of drinks afterwards. Then we went on with our second in-person meeting, and after that, everything went virtual. So we used to aim at quarterly meetings, but we managed in total, I think, 10 meetings last year, because the virtual setting kind of makes it a bit easier. You will note that not many of our topics were actually around the Tableau community. So I've actually highlighted them with the little star in front. So those are the ones that are Tableau related. And then the rest is either very conceptual, such as the dark data session that we had, or how to improve your analytical skills, which was just about community involvement and self-improvement in general. But then also more specific to other software, such as quantifying user feedback in R or data modeling with SQL. So we try to really broaden the horizon and offer a platform for all kinds of data people or data people to be. We are also hosting an upcoming event next month. So well, it might be a bit early for your time. So that's 1 p.m. Central European time. But if you want to join us, do use the QR code to sign up. And we do have another couple of meetings planned, also not all of them around Tableau. So why is it just women? The answer to that is it is not just about women. Data+Women is aimed at people of all genders. We are all united under the one common goal of advancing diversity in the data community. We aim to offer a platform to all minorities, whether that be gender or age or language or ethnicity or academical background or anything else. We want to help people to find a secure foothold in the world of data and a platform where they can build their network and discover opportunities. The one person who absolutely said it best was Emily Kuhnt at the Tableau conference 2020. She said, it's data plus women, it's not data minus men. I've actually checked the data from our attendees of the last year, and around 65% of them were female, and the rest was, other genders. So we are really open to everyone. Should I join? Well, I have already joined, but what about you? Question is, are you a woman? Do you have a mother, a sister, a female colleague or neighbor? If you answered any of these questions with yes, then the answer is yes, you should definitely join Data+Women. We want to open up a discussion about how the data community will benefit from more diversity, and you should definitely join the debate. So we need all hands on deck. Please come to any one of the Data+Women meetings. If you're now absolutely enthusiastic, as you should be, where can you sign up? Well, we do have a whole number of chapters all around the world. You can see 4 of them in the US. I think there might be one opening up in Canada soonish as well. We have Data+Women LATAM, so that's one of the newer chapters. We have a whole bunch of chapters in EMEA. We actually had a joint Christmas event in December that was very nice, from 7 out of these, I think, 9 chapters that we have. And also APAC has a number of chapters. Now, please note that we like to call them chapters, but actually each location is an initiative in and of itself. So they may do things a bit differently. I know that some of them may actually only accept female attendees, but most of them, as I said, are open to everyone. We do have one main aspect in common, and that is that our speakers are usually female. At least they are very, very rarely white males. There is one very recent exception, and that was Data+Women Zurich. Back in November, they had a Movember event where they raised awareness for men's health issues, and they had 2 male speakers there. There's also a bunch of other initiatives that are kind of similar, but not under the name of Data+Women. So, for example, we have She Loves Data, we have Her Plus Data, we have Women in Data. And if you're in the R community, you might want to check out R Ladies. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch more that I don't know about. So if you're curious, if you want to check out Data+Women Germany, then definitely do that. Use the QR code for that. If you're interested in any of the other chapters, you can find them on usergroups.tableau.com. They even have a section especially for Data+Women, so do check that out. And some of the chapters are on data+women.com. Not all of them, including Germany, we're not on there yet. I do need to work on that. So any of these chapters would absolutely love to have you, so do check that out. And with that, I basically have said everything I needed to say. If you have any questions, I'm absolutely happy to take them now.
Heidi, I have one. Tell me about the alpacas.
The alpacas.
Yes.
Well, all right. Yeah, that's well, I like to think it's a little known fact, but actually everybody knows that. I do love alpacas. If you don't know what alpacas are, you're missing out. They're like llamas, but actually cute. And yeah, they're just fluffy, and they have these huge, gorgeous eyes. We haven't had them at any of the Data+Women meetings yet, but maybe when we're back in person, we can take an alpaca walk or something for an in-person event. That would be nice.
Great, thank you. And if anyone has a more relevant question, by all means, feel free to ask. You can also put it in the chat. I think I have another one while we let people gather their thoughts. Can you tell maybe a bit more detail of how you got started, or how you started your chapter?
Absolutely. So as many things happened in my Tableau development, I kind of accidentally stumbled into starting Data+Women Germany. We had at TC Europe in 2019, they had a big Data+Women event, and I was like, what is Data+Women? Because I'd never heard of it. And I asked around if there was a chapter in Germany. So I talked to the community leaders, I talked to Caroline Yam of Tableau, and she said, not yet, but why don't you start one? And I mean, that's always the answer. And I was like, no, I can't do that. And then a couple of weeks later, I said, okay, let's actually do this, because, be the change that you want to happen in the world. So I started that together with 2 colleagues at the time. I'm now kind of leading it by myself, but we're going strong. I mean, in the virtual setting, there's a lot less to organize, and I'm trying to deliver on my promise to actually keep this initiative going.
That's great. Last call for questions before we let Heidi take a nap. It's I believe it's 10 p.m. There is a question that's come in. Does Data+Women help to provide speaking topics and speakers for local events? So I believe that's not just Data+Women events, but maybe other events as well. We
haven't done that yet. I mean, if there's an interest and people reach out to me, I'm absolutely happy to intro anyone to speakers that we have. We haven't had that many German speakers, actually, also due to the virtual setting. So no, we haven't had the opportunity to do this yet. Again, with everything going virtual, there haven't been that many local events that are actually local. We have had many people join in from all over, from the US to Singapore. Everybody's just joining the virtual things. But if you are looking for speakers, especially for female speakers, you should absolutely check out the Maple Square. I'll see if I can dig up the link, and I'll paste it in the chat as well, which is an overview page that Eva Murray started with a whole bunch of female speakers in the data community. So definitely check that out.
Great. And thank you. I'm pinging the person back to see if there's a follow-up. But are there any other questions? Nope, they're very, very satisfied with that answer. Thank you, Heidi.
Perfect. Thank you.
I think that is it. And if you all don't know how, there's a reaction button along the button bar of Zoom, where the first option under reactions is applause. So show Heidi your appreciation if you can applaud via video, or you prefer the icon, whatever way. But yeah, we appreciate it greatly. It's super helpful. Appreciate you staying up late and showing us more about Data+Women. Let's see, Jim Sun, are you ready with your presentation?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's have it. Thank you for being here, and let's also give Jim a round of applause. A little emoji action there.
I feel the love, and I have to say, Heidi, that was very inspirational. I just love the fact that we didn't let the pandemic slow us down. You kept right on going with organizing those meetings. I love the fact that we have this user group right now. It's just an excellent opportunity for us all to get together. So really just want to thank everyone for making this happen and for having me here. So yeah, my name is Jim. I'm a product manager. I've been with Tableau for 3.5 years now. And I work in our analytics division, which means I work on all the different viz types. I work on filters, actions, and so yeah, it's a lot of fun. And one of the things I've gotten to do more recently, within the last half year, is I've been able to get really deep into our geospatial visualization as well as our geospatial analytics. So Tableau has made a fairly large investment here, and I previously worked on geospatial when I worked on Excel back at Microsoft. But I have to say, what Tableau is doing is really just incredible, just very, very advanced. So what I'd love to do with the time we have today is to just go over a brief roadmap. Typically when we do roadmaps, we cover like literally everything. But what I want to do with the roadmap today is just to share what we did in 2020. And I have to say, I know 2020 was perhaps not a year to was not a great year for everybody, but there are some silver linings to celebrate. And one of the things I like to think is the set of map features that we put out. So I wanted to kind of recap the key features in mapping that we did in 2020. And in addition to telling you what those are, I also want to talk a little about the why. Why do we build this? What's it for? Where are we going? And so this roadmap is not just a look back, it's also going to be a look forward. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to doing is to share some confidential information about where we might be taking maps next over this year or next year. And one of the things I love to do is to just have these very, very honest conversations with customers. I just love hearing your immediate visceral responses to some of these ideas we're putting out, and having a discussion about how that might help you and your use cases and your business and what you're doing with Tableau. So as we get into that forward-looking session, I'd love for there to be just some conversation. Let's just talk about these ideas so we can make them better, make them fit you better. Okay, so 2020 in mapping. So starting all the way back to Tableau 20.1, this is the first quarter we released for 2020. One of the things that we put out that we're really proud of is this new calculation called Buffer. And so Buffer represents a new breed of calculations that really focuses on geospatial. So Buffer allows you to exploit the geospatial notion of proximity, which is one of the key things that GIS really analyzes for. And you can do a bunch of fun stuff with Buffer. Basically, Buffer just says, give me a point in space on the Earth, and I'll return all of the set of points that are within, let's say, 5-kilometer radius of that location. And so here are some great use cases I just pulled off public. I love these things. It can be done, it can be really whimsical too. Like for example, this dashboard is all about, okay, which English Premier League, football club has the most pubs surrounding their stadium or arena. And so you can see Newcastle United here has like 149 pubs within, 1 mile of where they play, which is pretty cool. So there's other great uses of Buffer. I don't speak French. I actually took Spanish in high school. So I don't actually know what this is, but I just love how this looks. And I love the fact that they did a Venn diagram. And because they used the opacity in the colors, they were able to blend the yellow and the blue to get the green popping, which is actually just from the effect of those two overlapping colors. So you can really see a Venn diagram here, which is pretty nice. And then another thing I'd love to show, this is one I got off Twitter from Naresh here. And so Naresh just got 20.1. He saw this new feature of Buffer, and right away he just created this amazing looking like infographic type dashboard, right? And he was able to use the Buffer calculation. I think the legend might actually be a little mini viz where he actually utilizes that as, to convey what the data means, which is actually really cool. So I think like when we look at these geospatial calculations, this next level of geospatial analytics, the reason we're investing in them is because we're seeing that our customers are now starting to graduate beyond looking, just simply plotting their data on a map. I mean, there's a ton of value information you can get from simply plotting that data. And certainly with map layers, which I'm going to demo in just a little bit, there's a ton more ways that you can analyze with just visual inspection. But we're also seeing customers ask for things that traditionally had been the realm of these full-fledged GIS tools like ArcGIS from Esri, right? And those are tools that people do things like proximity analysis, using location, tracing roadways and paths and all sorts of things. And that is actually a space that we like to play in as well, because we see that our customers have a need for that. And so this buffer calculation really represents the first step along a long journey, we hope, to actually incorporate more of these geospatially aware calculations into our language so that you can perform these kind of really nice feats. And another thing I really like about what Naresh said is that, hey, you know, this was my first time using 20.1, first time using buffer, and I was able to build this. And I love that because we specifically want to make sure that the geospatial analytics side of mapping is not this black box, you know, super difficult to approach thing. We want to just tell customers, hey, if you know how to write calculations, you're already using parameters, you can do geospatial analytics too. It's not different, it's not separate, it's just part of what you already know how to do, and here it is. So look to that as we talk a little bit more about some of the things we're thinking about in the future. So another thing we really emphasized in 2020 was the ability to connect to your spatial data, wherever they might sit. So here is an example of our Esri connector, which right now is able to connect to all public ArcGIS servers, as well as the geodata APIs they have. So for example, you have this Hawaii.gov exposes Esri API for grabbing contour information and data about the Hawaiian Islands. You can just take that URL, plug in a Tableau, and that data is just brought in automatically for you as an extract. And you actually get to determine through the extract UI, you know, how often should this data refresh, and so on and so forth. And so this is an example of something just super easy to do, to just suck in the data and make sure that you can refresh against that data so that there's no kind of manual work where you have to first export a disk and then re-import that in Tableau. We want to make this seamless. So the Esri connector was one of the beginnings of that, but we are also now focusing on all of the major popular data warehouse solutions out there. So in 20.2, we did Oracle Spatial, and in 20.4, we did the Redshift connector. And I can say in good authority that we are doing Snowflake next for 21.1, which is due to come out any moment now. So why do we do this? Well, again, we just want to make it super simple to be able to grab this spatial data. Spatial data is really the lifeblood of working with maps. You know, you have your custom regions, school districts, voting districts, census plots. These are all the things that you want to bring into Tableau and visualize that on a map. And this is how you do it. So as we proceed along over the coming years, we're going to try to make sure that we're staying on top of the trends in the market and making sure that we have these full-fledged, robust connectors for all of these major warehousing solutions. So next, in 20.3, we released something called Spatial File Union. And I love this GIF here on the right. This is the movement of Hurricane Isaias. And this is data that NOAA released every 6 hours. So every 6 hours, they release all this data about just the direction, the wind speed. Basically, you can really trace the path of this hurricane, right? But one thing that is always challenging when data is being released in these kind of segmented chunks is that you're getting these iterative copies of these shape files with pockets of data in them. And if you want to do a time lapse of the hurricane's movement, like you see here, that's not so simple to do because you have to kind of iteratively union these files together. And Tableau before this did not support the ability to union your files for your spatial files. So what we've done is we've added that now. So some of the things that you can do with this is, you know, wildfires these days are always in the news. It's an environmental concern, certainly. And so it's pretty interesting. We're going to be speaking with California Fire. We're also going to be speaking with Department of Interior soon. And this is a feature that they're very interested in because their data does come in these like discrete chunks like this, every 6 hours, every day, they get new data. And to be able to really understand what's going on within each snapshot, you really have to stitch them together. And that's what this does. And then finally, we get to the thing that I'm sure everyone's excited about, which is map layers. And this is our 20.4 release. If you watched our TC-ish 20, you would have seen perhaps the demo by Laura and Raphael, who's our engineering teams. And they did this great map layers demo here. And it's received a lot of kudos from our customers. I think it demos really well. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to provide a demo of map layers. And I want to show you just how easy it is to actually put multiple layers onto your maps to be able to get even more just kind of insights from your map visualization. And this demo is courtesy of Mark Reed. He's one of our Zen masters. I was trying to put together a demo myself, but honestly, Mark Reed already knocked it out of the park. He's got this fabulous use case for layers, so I just decided to steal it. All right, so what we're talking about here today is London real estate prices. I don't know what it is about London, but there's always tons and tons of spatial data about London, so we demoed it quite a bit. But this is London real estate prices, and we're going to see, basically, we're going to use layers to think about what are the different, why is the real estate expensive? And also, what are the characteristics of this expensive real estate versus less expensive real estate? Now, let's get started. So what I have here is I have a whole bunch of just geometries and data about London. So I'm going to start over here. These are the individual wards in London. So I'm just going to drag it out and I have a map. And now there's individual districts in London too. I'm just going to add that to detail. I think they're on a higher level than the wards here. And then finally, I'm going to bring in the prices, which is the median price. So I'm going to drag that on the color. Now, when you're working with layers, color actually becomes very important because you're going to have a lot of different marks competing against each other. And so since this one, I know is going to form the foundation of my layers, it's going to be the lowest one, I'm actually going to give it a more kind of lighter treatment so it doesn't dominate the whole view. So first I remove the border so it looks a little cleaner. Then I have this nice grayscale palette over here. And then finally, I'm going to turn up the opacity so it gets a little bit more translucent. There we go. So here you can see this is really London represented as, oh, one last thing. This is currently the sum of the, I want this to actually be the maximum. So there we go. Now it looks correct. So this is just the highest median real estate prices all across London. So we can see, definitely towards the city center, the darker it is, the more expensive the median real estate price is there. And then it gets a little bit cheaper as you go out to the sides. So now let's bring in layers. So let's talk about what are the characteristics of, this pricey real estate versus less pricey? I have a whole bunch of stuff here that I can analyze. So one of the things I can look at is road noise, right? I don't want to be living next to a major highway. So I can take road noise here. This is another shapefile. And you can see as I picked it up, there's already a drop target here. And I can just drop in here. We already know that there is a set of marks on this viz, and we're offering you the ability to interlace more layers on top with this drop target. So I'm just going to drop road noise onto there. And I apologize for any slowness. I fled my office with just my little laptop, so it might be a little bit slow. Okay, so here is basically a visualization of all the noises that occur in London. And there's distinct classes of noises, basically just how loud it is. So I'm going to add that to color. And just like before, I'm going to put more things on here. So I really probably want to just adjust the coloring. I want to get rid of some of the borders here. And I'm going to also turn up that opacity just like before. So now you can see here, the really pink areas, that's just tons and tons of noise. So one of the things I'm noticing right away is these more pricier areas, they don't have as much road noise. Definitely there's some main arterials leading into London, right? These big major highways go into London. You can see it around the edges surrounding kind of the cheaper real estate. But as you go into the city center, it gets less and less noisy, which is pretty cool. Another thing that's popular these days is Teslas, right? Everybody loves electric cars, Leafs. So what about charging points? Is a characteristic of these more pricey real estate, like there's just more charging points? So that's another thing I can look at. So because I'm able to just plop whatever I want onto here and interlace it with all the rest of the data, there's just monumentally more insights I can derive from just visually inspecting the map that I couldn't before if I had to look at this one at a time. So I just put all of the charging stations all across London onto here. Yeah, I mean, they're densely packed around the city center. So that's pretty cool. And one of the things is, with Layers is I can actually turn on and off the visibility. And also I can also promote layers. And by promoting layers, what I mean by that is I can move it up, just kind of like Photoshop style. And that's going to allow this layer to render on top of the other one. And if I don't want to see the charging points, I could just click this eye icon and it goes away. Now, this is just in the authoring flow right now, but one of the things we're planning to do is to release a widget for consumption side so that you can basically build a map with, let's say, 6 or 10 layers, and you can allow your consumers to go in there and actually work with it and just kind of select the layers they want to view so they can kind of answer questions for themselves. And so as you go along kind of adding more and more to this, you might end up with something that looks like this beauty right here. So this is the final version by Mark Reed. It's got everything. And if you look at on the right side here, these are the 6 different layers that this uses. And before map layers, this would have had to have been 6 different visits. And you can see right away, if you're just kind of eyeballing each of these 6, you're not going to be able to get much out of it. But when you see them all together like this, and you're able to toggle individual layers on and off, you can really find way more insights than before.
Is there anything else you want to share, Jim, before we move to the next segment?
No, I just want to thank everyone for their time and for having me here. This is awesome. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you certainly did us a kindness by being here, and I learned a lot. I'm excited for the next version of Tableau, even more than before. Everyone with your reactions, please give Jim a round of applause as well, or clap if you've got video on. This was a great presentation, both from you, Jim, and Heidi. Glad to see you're still here. Don't stay up too late on our account. Let's see, with that. I'm stuck in full screen mode. So I will.
Yeah, Eric has a quiz for us. We forgot to tell him
That's
before
right.
Jim spoke that there would be a quiz later.
That's right.
Oh, well.
Well, there's still 26 people here, and it's a quiz themed after Mr. Sun. Eric Howard has put the link in the chat. Is it? Yeah, that's the link to the website, kahoot.it. Eric, do you want to go ahead and guide us through and talk us through how to get started?
Yeah, let me share my screen here. And we'll start that. So if you go to the website, kahoot.it, and enter the game pin, is that really not you, Nick?
It is not me.
Okay.
But
Love you.
I've got some guesses who that is, but all I know is it's not me.
going. Everybody?
Yeah, it's hard to know whether people
I
are
know.
doing it because they don't know how or they don't want to.
All right, well, I'm
So-
going to start. All right. First question. What type of maps can you build in Tableau? Proportional symbol maps, point distribution maps, spider maps, or topographic maps? Check all that are correct.
Oh,
All
I
right.
think it only let me pick
Topographic
a
map,
single answer.
yeah, was the only one that was you can't do. No topos. Can you fix that, Jim?
Well, we'll look into that in a little bit.
Not Nick is winning. All right.
Does that mean I'm losing?
Which version of Tableau introduced WMS custom background layers? This is one of the, I can't say that. Can't give the answer away. .1, it was one of the first map improvements that I could find on the web. Nobody picked it. No. If I told you that that was John McCain and Barack Obama's map, you probably could have guessed it. How many layers, how many mark layers can you add using the new map layers feature? How many mark layers can you add? One correct answer. Yeah, all right. Most people got that right. Good. And Lisa takes the lead. Which version of Tableau introduced vector maps for background layers? This is where they switched to map source. They went from raster to vector, and so you could zoom in and zoom out with great fidelity.
My goodness.
All right. That is not correct. That was version 9. I'm gonna have to check my quiz there. Next, what is Jim Sung's current role at Tableau? Pretty sure Nick mentioned it earlier today.
Good. Oh my goodness.
All right. Good job, everybody. And DW takes the lead. How Tableau joins support how many data sources? That's spatial joins. How many spatial joins can you do? Correct answer is 2. All right. One more question. Laura B takes the lead. And which version of Tableau introduced smart maps? I want to know who came up with the name Smart Maps. We have smart maps.
Maybe it was Jim.
Predates Jim. That was Jim's predecessor.
Oh,
All right. Ryan is number 3. Data+Women comes in second. even though she's so sleepy and tired. And Laura D.
Yeah.
does it all. All right. Way to go.
Well done.
All
Laura
right.
B might have to present sometime soon about the history of Tableau.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Nick, before we leave, I've got one thing for the group.
Sure, let's hear it.
Okay. We are looking for 2 people to join our leadership group. Okay, we'd like to have somebody who can help us with the communication aspect and somebody that can help us with the technical setup aspect of it. So we're looking for 2 people to join the group. If you have any interest, contact either Nick, myself, or Eric, or we'll contact some of you and ask for your help, because we're finding that we need a little more help in the group right now.
Agreed. We take all the help we can get.
All right, I have one job announcement. I've heard that Vanderbilt is going to be opening a position for a Tableau and sort of smart sheet developer. So if you have want to get into some data work, or you're not happy where you're at, get on the Vanderbilt job site and search for Tableau next month. I don't think it's out there yet.
Cool.
Yep.
Would they be working with you, Eric?
Possibly. Yep.
Wow. That's tempting. Bet you'd be fun to work with.
Keep you busy. We have a lot of stuff to do. Have a very ambitious boss. I'll put it that way. Yep.
I hear you. And just a reminder, our next meeting will be 3:30 Central Time on February 24th, last Wednesday of the month. And we've already got our speakers lined up. You just saw Eric in the virtual flesh. He'll be talking about row level security. Prior to that, we'll be hearing from Adam Miko about a mentoring meetup, either those who are looking to be mentored or looking to mentor. And then Brian Moore will finish up building better business dashboards through interactivity. So hope to see you all then, if not before. And thanks for being here. The recording will be out there, so if you were expecting to see some colleagues or compatriots who weren't here, feel free to send that link to them. We'll put that on our community board.
And I have a correction. That's VUMC is posting the job, not Vanderbilt. I don't work for Vanderbilt anymore. All right.
Don't worry. And yeah, but we don't have time for breakout rooms today. We've only got 7 minutes left, so
Thanks to our
appreciate-
speakers. You guys were great.
absolutely.
Thank you.
So glad you were both here, and thank you very much, both of you. All right.